All right, and we're back. Again, this is Clint, and I'm going through shortest trip to Earth. And so I've been, I realized I've spent about an hour and a half talking, just talking about all this preparation and getting going. I've only gone one jump out to this, and it wasn't even a real jump. It was through a little wormhole thing too. So yeah, I've been talking quite a bit about preparation, but preparation really is the key to this game. So, anyway, one of the things I've been thinking about doing here, especially early on, is that I want to have another shield generator. I have this one Aegis shield generator here, and this is pretty good because it's 6 power to power it, and it provides me with 7 shielding. But more importantly, it's is this factor here, this effect of reload time. So this means every 5 seconds it'll generate another shield point. And that's important when you lose shield points and need to regenerate them. The bad thing about shield batteries, though, is that they don't produce any more shield points if you lose any. They only provide kind of this buffer, and that's kind of it, while consuming quite a bit of power in the process as well. So I don't really care for shield batteries much. So what I've been thinking of doing is doing one of the DIY kits here. So if you're not familiar with this, you can select on any slot, and so you just select this. Like I'll select this slot. I think this is different. So you got to select the appropriate slot, something that can fit in there. But more importantly, let me go ahead and just store this. But the main thing is you want to select the slot, and if there's something already there, then you select the item and then do select slot here. Now, once you're here, you can look to see what can I build. So you can actually build lots of different things here. A lot of people probably weren't aware of this. They're in the beginning of their ships and stuff like that, or their runs. But yeah, if you lose your sensors, you can build a new sensor. If you lose your shield generator, you can build a new shield generator. So what I'm looking at is potentially building this shield generator, do a DIY one. It costs a little bit more power because this costs 7 power to run, while this shield battery costs 4 to run. So that's a difference of 3, which would increase my my power needs from 27 to 30. So it'd be 30 of 32 at that point. But I get the added benefit of being able to generate a new shield point once every 7 seconds. I know that doesn't sound like much, but every little bit does help here. It does cost some resources. It is kind of expensive at 4 exotics here. So exotics are worth about anywhere from 50 to 60 credits. So this is basically 200, 300, 400, and some change, about 450 credits if you added everything up here. So it's definitely not worth it to just buy these or craft these on your own. It's really not a very good deal, but when you're in a pinch, these really do help. So I've been thinking whether or not I want to do that. I'm not quite sure. I'm quite convinced of it yet. I was just something I was thinking about doing here, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that this was a possibility. So, and it's not just for shield batteries and stuff. You can actually create more reactors. Like I didn't know you could actually create this zap fruit one. Maybe this is specific to this ship or something, but this is kind of neat that you can actually build your own zap fruit one there. So, cryo sleep chambers and such, you can build these. So even if you didn't get them during the perk stage, you can always build a microbrewery or other things you might need to help with your situation. And of course, we can also craft these packs here. You can generate, you can actually create your own containers. So if you're really desperate for, say, an exotics container, you can actually go ahead and just build one for yourself. So again, it takes up a whole slot though. So keep that in mind. And as you go through the run too, you always want to keep an eye on doing slot upgrades. Like eventually, I want to upgrade this slot here and this slot here to weapon slots, and then move this laser here to here, and move this weapon laser here to here. and then put more point defense here, so I'll have a total of 4 point defense. So that's my kind of eventual goal. I also want to convert, these are already, let's go to this slot. This is a hybrid slot already, and I believe this one is as well. Yeah, this is a hybrid slot. So hybrid slots are good for ECMs, which are the electromagnetic countermeasures, which help with increase the evasion. Again, the ultimate goal here to winning this game, in my opinion, is getting this evasion up to 100 or more. And once you get to 100 or more, it's actually a pretty easy game after that, because they can't even hit you at that point. Okay, so anyway, moving forward, last you saw me in the last video, I had visited this Rat Emporium shop. Really wasn't much to buy from. They got some med bays here, but my med bay's fine, so it's not really a necessity for me to buy these other med bays. Now, if you're trying to heal on the go while in the middle of a fight, which that's up to you. These would be a little bit better as far as efficiency and number of people that can handle at a time. But I generally don't heal my crew members during fights and such. And yes, I do need some more crew members. I only have 6 crew members, but again, later in the game, you'll actually pick up 3 or more kind of randomly as you go. So I think I'm not going to spend the money to pick up more crew members. And with that said, and with organics, I always like to sell down to 100 organics. Sell it all the way down until this side reaches 100. Just because there are certain parts of the game where it requires 100 organics to do something. And so it's kind of nice to have the organics on hand. Plus, you also want some on hand in case you need to do full combat mode and movement and stuff like that. So generally, I did not to sell all your organics when you're in even though when you're in a positive organics economy. In this case, I can only sell so much to the store, and the store's full up, and I can't sell any more at this point. I think we're good on explosives. I'm almost at max capacity for them. 337, 336 is not very much capacity anyway. But later on, I'm going to convert completely over to lasers once I have enough shield busters, shield busting weapons that I could do. Speaking of which, if I wanted to, I could select this slot. And there's actually a really good weapon that I like early on that can help with shield busting, and that's this Blu-ray emitter. Not sure Blu-ray, players and stuff like that, but this is a very fragile, only it has 3 hit points. What I like about it, I can't really click on it to show it, but what I like about this is that it does 10 shield points of damage every 14 seconds. Most weapons in the game kind of do 50%, like 5 for every 10 seconds, like a 1 to 2 ratio. But this is actually a pretty high ratio of 10 damage to shields, and it does 5 points of damage to both modules and the ship. So that's actually a pretty good ratio of damage per second that's going on here. So I think when I'm ready to completely switch over, meaning get rid of my ballistic missiles here and switch completely over to lasers, I think I'll buy that and then junk those at that point. So, but I don't think I'm quite ready for that yet. So, because a lot of the shields early on are pretty thick. So, all right, I think we are ready to move on. So I think I've visited everything here. You can see by the plus signs what's been visited here. Looks like I haven't visited this last one here, so I think I will switch to economy mode. And then make sure I got enough power for that. Yeah, barely have enough power to handle economy mode. Another option here is when in economy mode, you can actually power down your weapons. You don't need them. Having them pre-powered before combat actually gives you nothing, and there's no advantage to doing that. So, so as a good practice, you can actually turn off the power on all these weapons, giving you quite a bit of extra power to service your cryo chambers and your farms and stuff like that, and then just save that result so that it always does that on next time. So when I flipped over to combat mode, they're powered on and ready to go. So, all right, economy mode, and let's go. And by the way, you can't actually go too close to these stars. It won't let you. All right, so this is a straight up trade. I give them 80 explosives for 175 metals. I want to keep my explosives, so I will decline that. All right, so now I'm ready to do my first real jump to another area. Now, I try to visit every single star in a given sector, just because there's usually a lot of resources and kind of cool things around there to look at. But in this case, it kind of would be inefficient to go out here and then all the way up here again and back down again. I always prioritize going to space stations to try to buy the modules that will help me along my way. So this has one trade signal here, another trade signal here. I don't see any trade signals down here, so I think I'm going to go take this path. I think I'm going to go up here, go there, and then exit this sector. Maybe I'll fly out here and go around, maybe, but I think I'm going to just go this route. So, all right. So first thing I do, my checklist to jump is I always make sure I'm combat ready. So if you haven't switched over to combat mode, you want to do that at this time. So I switch to combat mode. Okay. And looks like we're ready for that. So I'm ready for a fight now. And now I'm going to jump. So click here, view, and I'm going to expect to get attacked here. So here we go. And amazingly, I did not get attacked. All right, so switch over to economy mode. It's kind of annoying having to wait each time for this, but I guess you get used to it. All right, there we go. And now I move to the shipwreck. These shipwrecks sometimes have a lot of good loot. Board the ship, yeah, it's probably a trap though, but yeah, sometimes you get good loot. Oh, Moleculati, I think that's an alien species, was found aboard the vessel. They're intelligent, easy, non-carbon creatures. I think these are pets. Yeah, eating a chair or lamp once every few years. So, yeah, I think that's like a little pet. I think they're really good at fighting too. So, here's my new guy. So let me go and select him. Yeah, he's not really good for much other than putting out fires, but he's good at fighting. So I think that's what I think will help him too. By the way, when I have a choice of fire, if these are your only choices as far as crew members, always put them in fire mode. Just when they're not in battle, or actually during battle as well. But then when I do have boarders, enemy boarders who board my ship, I click on this fire officers thing here, and if I'm not dealing with any immediate fire, I switch them all to fighters as security officers, and then they can help take care of the boarders. So, but in this case, there's no boarders going on, so my force of firefighters will just do that. I can't even talk right now. Just do firefighting. Okay. I also like to distribute them out to different parts of the ship. So I've got these two guys back here ready to take on stuff back there, and I'll put him at the top of the ship here. And then I'll save this as my new config. Alright. I don't think there's anything else here. I don't want to spend the fuel browsing around, so I'll just go ahead and do another jump. Oh, before I jump, first thing I need to do is load my combat preset. Wait, make sure I'm ready for combat. And now here we go. Expecting a fight. And even these friendlies here, the screen indicates that there's a friendly person there. Sometimes they are human traffickers type of pirates, or merchants and stuff like that. So in some cases, even though they're a friendly merchant that's approaching you, you might actually want to have the option to actually attack them and get some loot from them as well. So so I always expect, even if they're friendly coming up to me, I expect them to that there's potentially a fight there. So I always switch to combat mode when something's approaching me. All right, so no immediate dangers, so I switch over to economy mode. Wait for them to get into position. Always go to economy mode so that you're gaining organics as you go here. So, all right, let's go see if we can get some fuel. Ideal for orbiting mining. Okay, harvest. Oh, it's already owned by another corporation. So here's a choice. This is basically a trade scenario, effectively what this comes down to. Do you want to spend 40 explosives to see about getting some mining resources or fuel resources or some other resource? But do you want to spend the explosives to do it? Or you can try to fight the satellites, risking your hit points, and that's your hit points of your ship. I think I'll spare one round here of explosives. Sometimes this repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. I've had to go like 5 times at one point where I had to use 5 rounds of explosives till I finally got through. So I think there's some randomity there. All right, so expended 30 explosives. What did we get? Went smooth. All right, that's a good trade. For wow, you can click here. So for 30 explosives, I got 194 fuel. That was a good deal. Oh, we discovered something interesting. Nearby moon. Warehouse belonging to the Incorporated. So you can loot it or respect the property and leave. Now here's another decision. So you can possibly get some kind of a few resources out of this deal, or you can get some fate points for your next one. I tend to play it nice, so I'll respect property and leave, and this will give me some fate points for my next run. And I got 1 fate point. Okay, that little crash sound that you just heard means that I have too much fuel at this point. So I can either dump it at craft pack. There's actually more options instead of just dump it and stuff like that. You can actually use the fuel to create another nuke. You can use the fuel to do upgrades. Let's see how close I am for this next upgrade for this one here. So if I click the slot upgrades, okay, I need 500 metal, 400 synthetics. I couldn't think of the word. So I need those. I don't see... Yeah, probably not going to have those resources anytime soon. So maybe I'll just create a... Here, I'll go ahead and store this. And then create another nuke. While I have the fuel, I can make a fuel pack nuke. And I think I'll do that. Okay. Fuel pack nukes are actually really good for fires. So definitely nice for causing fires. So, okay, so that took care of my fuel problem. I invested. Now the thing that's nice about this too is if I later need that fuel back, I can just scrap this fuel pack nuke and get a lot of that resources back. Not all of it, of course, but some of those. So it's kind of a good investment for that. All right, let's go to this space station. Hopefully I won't run into anything soon. Again, I'm going to expect a fight here. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to combat mode. And wait for them to get... that's probably good enough. And step in, let them come to me. And by the way, I'm clicking to make this pop up faster. So, all right, do I want more fuel? 100 fuel for credits. 3 exotics, 100 fuel. Can I actually handle 100 fuel? That'll give me 380. I think I'll just sell an exotic. Yeah, and it gave me a little extra stuff there. So, all right, back to economy mode. Okay, what do we got here? So I really like ECMs. They're really, really handy for getting your evasion up. But for the slot, only increasing it by 3, not really worth it. I wait until, plus this is a DIY one, which I can create these as many times as I want anyway, so this isn't really worth it. Power, 12. That is nice. I could really use a power upgrade. So 234, 238. So that's 9, this is 10. Okay, if I did buy this, where would I put it? Yeah, really not much room. These small ships tend to have problems like this. I do like buying drones. Drones are really, really nice, especially late game for borders and stuff like that. Might buy him. Do I have any damage? No. Let's go ahead and sell stuff down, and I'll think about what I want to do here. So sell down to 100. I think we're fine on fuel. Okay. Alright, so we're doing pretty good there. Do I want this upgrade? So I could just replace this 10 with the 12. That'll give me and then I can have an extra. Yeah, I think I want to do that. So that's 234 for that one, 238. So this one's damaged, this one right here. You see the 5.6. If I bought that and placed it in, it would cost me probably about 10 synthetics to repair that. So that actually would be a cost of 244 if you count them as 10 or more. So looking at both of these, 1038 versus 1034, this one's the better deal. So yeah, go and get it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is load up that mode. This is going to go from 25 to 27. Save. Load combat mode. Swap this out. And then when they get in place, now I'll save that. And one more thing I can do here is I can start swapping out my containers. So during real combat, you don't need containers during combat. You can actually remove all your containers during combat and be fine. The point with containers is if you contain all your resources, you can move. If you don't contain all your resources, you can't move. Alright, so what that means is that I can expand more presets here. So what I like to do is I like to consider this first one my kind of yellow alert, meaning there might be a battle coming up. So let's go ahead and prepare for battle, but still have the containers in place so I can still move around. I also use yellow alert to be ready for combat with sensors ready to go. So that's where we're at now. So now I want to swap out the sensors with something as combat useful. So I'll get this reactor and replace that. I lost my sensors. I don't need sensors during combat. So then I save this as my kind of orange alert. And then if I had some relics, which actually help with ECM abilities, I can then replace all my containers with relics that help with my evasion. I don't have any of those, but I don't have any of those right now, but later on I would. So I'll save that I'll save this both. I'm going to save this configuration as both my orange alert as well as my red alert status. So again, yellow, orange, red, meaning combat ready, but sensors and movement okay. Combat ready without sensors can move around, and then combat ready full, everything fully configured for combat. So, but I usually can't move when I'm in that configuration. So, All right, I think that's good for right now, and I'll go ahead and set this up for a break.